Okay, I'm going to demonstrate how to create the maze game. So basically what you're going to do is you have the little cat down here and you have the apple up there. And I put a timer in for 60 seconds and you're going to use your arrow keys to maneuver your way through the maze. If you hit a black line, you get stuck. So you actually have to be able to move. And I went the wrong way, so I'm going to try to go this way. And if you don't make it through the maze in 60 seconds, you are going to lose. Boy, I'm not doing very well, am I? And then I also have 5 mazes set up. So it's going to be randomly selected on which of the 5 mazes the player starts with. I think I can go this way. Let's see if I can get to the top. And when you get to the apple at the top, he's going to say num, num, num. And then it's going to randomly start you with another maze. And you get another 60 seconds. So you do get 60 seconds for each maze. Okay, so that's what we're going to make. So start by opening Scratch, log in, click Create, name your game, Maze Game. And then so you're going to customize the cat sprite. So in the size box below the stage, you want to change the size of your sprite to 10. So down here below your stage, instead of 100, you're making the size, you're making the size 10. Okay, so he's really tiny, I know, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. And then you're going to create the following code. So I typed in the type of code you're going to use, and I also did a screenshot. So when green flag, go to this exact XY position, set the scale to 10 or size to 10, and show. Okay, so we're going to start with events, and we're going to say when green flag is clicked. I'm just going to zoom in a little so it's easier for you to see. And then I'm going to go to motion, and I'm going to go to XY position, and then I'm going to go back, and it has to be -20, -165. -20 and -165. So -20 for my X coordinate, -165 for my Y coordinate. And then we're going to have set size to 10 and show, and those are both in the purple looks category. So we're going to do set size to, it's way down here, but instead of 100, we're going to make sure he stays at 10%. And then we're going to make sure that the cat shows up when we are playing. So that's our first thread of code. I'm going to go back, and now we're going to add and customize our apple sprite. So we're going to choose a sprite. We're going to choose the apple. We're going to set the size to 25, and then we're basically going to do the same code, just with a different percentage size and a different go-to location. So I'm going to click on the cat head here. I'm going to select the apple. And then once the apple is selected, we're going to go to events and say when green flag is clicked, and motion with XY. And then I'm going to go back to look to see what the XY is. -18, 160. So our X coordinate is -18 and our Y coordinate is 160. And then I'm going to go to the looks category. I'm going to set size to, but instead of 100%, I'm going to make the apple 25%. And by the way, I did forget to do it under the stage too. So let's go over here and type 25 in there. And then I'm going to do show. I'm going to go ahead and click my green flag. When I do so, the apple should go to the top, the cat should go to the bottom, and they do. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to move on. All right, adding the maze sprites. So it says click the following link to download links to download the 5 mazes. So I have mazes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you click on each one individually, it'll open the maze, and you just click download. It'll go into your downloads folder. So do that for each of the 5. I used a site called mazegenerator.net. You can always create your own maze if you want to, or just use my 5. So download them, and then you're going to add them in as sprites. So I'm going to float my mouse over the sprite. Don't click on it, float your mouse, and go to upload sprite. Okay. And I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and I'm going to, if you hold control, you can click on more than one at a time. So notice I held control and I grabbed all of them. You know what? Actually, I'm just going to do one at a time because I want to customize. Let's just do number 1 first. Let's customize it, and then we'll add the rest. It'll take on the same property, so you won't have to recustomize it a bunch of times. So I'm going to click open. Okay, I have my maze here. And then if you notice, in the size box below the stage, we're going to change the size to 135. So I'm going to do that first. So instead of 100, I'm going to make it 135. Makes it a little bit bigger. And then in the X position, we're going to type -19, and the Y is -5. So below the stage in the X, I'm going to put a -19, and then the Y, I don't remember what it was. Y, I'm sorry, the -19, -5. There it is, -5. Okay, so -19, Y is -5. Now the maze is in the right position. I'm just going to click on my apple sprite because you know what? Notice that the apple's behind it. So I'm just going to pull it out in front, and then I'm going to try to do the same thing with the cat. Pull pull it out in front. And then if I hit my green stop sign, they should go to, or green start sign, they should go to the right location. Okay, good. All right, now I can add the rest of my costumes. So now, instead of adding them as sprites, if you have the maze selected, go to the costumes tab in the top left corner. And in the bottom left corner, I have this little toolbar. Let me get this out of the way. If you float your mouse over this cat head, you're going to say upload costumes. And now you can hold your control key and click on Maze 2, Maze 3, Maze 4, and Maze 5. Click open. And they will be added in. Notice they're in the wrong order. Not that it matters, but I'm going to put Maze 2. I'm just going to drag it to the 2 position. I'm going to drag Maze 3 to the 3 position. And so they should say Maze 1, Maze 2, Maze 3, Maze 4, Maze 5. Perfect. Now they're all in the correct order. Let me just move this back down in the corner here. I'm going to go back to code. Let's go back to here. And all of that is done. Okay. Creating the original and game over backdrops. Okay. So click choose a backdrop button in the bottom right corner and choose light. So we're going to use light as our original backdrop. So you can either type it in or you can scroll down to the L's. It's this one right here. It's just because it's not very busy. It gives a little bit of color, but it's not real super busy. So that's why I chose light. I guess if you want to choose something else, you can, but let's go with light for right now. And then I'm going to right click and duplicate it, and I'm going to make my game over backdrop. Okay, so I'm going to click on my backdrop over here below my stage. I'm going to go to the backdrop tab. You can either duplicate it, or if you want to make a plain one, go ahead, but I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to get rid of that first one. Instead of light 2, I'm going to name it game over so I know what it is. I'm going to click my T for text. I'm going to change my text color and my font. So if you want a different font, go ahead and choose a different font. I will click here and I will type game and over. I'm going to use my selection arrow in order to get my sizing handles so I can adjust the size and the placement of the words game over. Okay, good. So that's done. So let's go back to the instructions. All right. Create code for the cat. Left arrow. So make sure you have the cat selected. So I'm going to go select my cat, and then I'm going to go to the code tab, and now let's look what we have to do. So again, I typed in the instructions. I also gave a screenshot of the blocks. So we're going to say when the green flag is clicked. Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to start the green flag. It tells me I'm just going to add it right to this. Okay. So we're going to start with a forever loop. So we're going to do this part right here, the forever loop, the if then statement, if left arrow is pressed. So I'm going to go to control. I'm going to grab a forever loop. Staying with control inside the forever loop, I'm going to do an if then. Notice there's a blank hexagon, so I have to put something inside of there. So I'm going to go to sensing and say key left arrow pressed. So go to sensing, the blue sensing category, and it's going to say key space pressed. That's going to go in the hexagon. So float it in the hexagon until you see it glowing. And then instead of space, we're going to change it to left arrow. Left arrow. I'm going to go back, and then it's going to say change X by 4. So our left and right arrows are the X axes, and our up and down arrows are the Y axes. So we want to use the block that says change X for our left arrow. So change X by -4, and then I'll tell you why we're going to do next costume in a second. So let's go to the motion category, and towards the bottom, you're going to see the change X by 10. Remember, left goes to left is a negative. That's why I'm putting -4 instead of +4. And then the reason I'm going to looks and saying next costume is because if you go to the costumes for the cat sprite, there are 2. And if you shift through them really fast and you watch his legs, it looks like he's running. So this way, when we press the left arrow, it's going to hurry up and shuffle between these 2 costumes, and it's going to make him look like he's running, which is kind of a little more realistic than him just gliding, right? So we're going to change X by -4, and we're going to do a next costume. And then we are going to do another if-then block, and we're going to say if it's touching a certain color, we're going to change X, touching the wall, not just a certain color, the wall. So we're going to go back to control and grab an if-then block. And then inside this hexagon, we have to say touching the color black. So we're going to go to we're going to go to sensing, and you're going to do touching color, float that over the hexagon. Don't just guess on your shade of black. Use your color picker down here. Float over one of the black lines and select it. Okay. And now what happens when he's touching the color black? We want it to do the exact opposite of what we have here, which is change X by -4. So we're going to go back to motion, and we're going to do a change X, and we're going to do a +4. And this way, if you hit your left arrow key, the cat is going to just kind of just get stuck. It's going to try to be going back and forth left and right, and it's just going to get stuck, okay? So we're done with that code. So now we're basically going to do this exact same code for the right arrow, except we're going to just switch our numbers because right is positive. Okay. Now you can retype or you can re-pull in all the blocks. But the other thing I can do is I can take this entire if then and I can make a duplicate of it. So I'm going to right click on the word if and I'm going to choose duplicate. And I'm going to place it underneath the original if then. And now I just have to change it. Instead of left arrow, I'm going to make it right arrow. Instead of change x by 4, or negative 4, excuse me, I'm going to change x by 4. And instead of change x by 4 down here, I have to do the opposite, which is negative. Okay, let's test it out. So if I hit my right and left arrow keys, notice he hits the wall and gets stuck. Okay, now we have to do our up and down arrows. So again, you can copy this, but if we copy it, we are going to have to change. We can't use x, we have to use y. So we have to change those blocks as well. But we can copy it or we can redo it. It's up to you. I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to place it inside. Instead of right arrow, I'm going to say up arrow. I'm going to get rid of this change x by in order to put in a change y by. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to have to pull all this away. Whoops. Change y by. Now I can put this back in. Now, up arrow is positive. So my top block is going to be a positive 4 and my bottom one will be a negative 4. Okay. Now I can duplicate this for my down arrow. So duplicate, slide this in, change this to down arrow. Down is negative. So my top block has to be a negative 4 and my bottom block has to be a 4. Okay, let's test it all out. So try all 4 of your arrows and no matter which direction you go, if you hit the black line, you should be stuck. And mine is working, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to go back to the instructions. I created code for the right arrow. I created code for the up arrow. I created code for the down arrow. Okay, create code for what happens when the cat reaches the apple. Okay, so when the cat reaches the apple, we're going to have it say nom nom nom. Sorry about the hand here. We're going to have it go back to its starting position. We're going to have it broadcast to the next maze because we want another maze random to come up. And then we're going to also set a timer. Okay, so we're going to do another if then block that we're going to put underneath here. So I'm going to go to control and I'm going to grab an if then. Now watch where I'm putting it. It's going to go inside the forever loop. Do I have, let me just make sure I got this right. Forever loop, if then, if then, yeah. All right, so we're going to place it right here. Make sure that there's 2 orange bars above it and 1 below it. And we're going to say if it's touching the apple. So let's go to sensing. Grab the top block that says touching mouse pointer, but instead of mouse pointer, choose apple. And then let's go back to our instructions. We're going to have it say nom 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 for 1 second. So let's go to looks. And the top block says say hello for 2 seconds. We're going to backspace away the word hello. Whoops. And we're going to say nom nom nom, exclamation point. And instead of 2 seconds, just 1. It'll be a little quicker. And then we're going to go to our same XY position we started at before. So let's go to motion, go to XY. But before I do that, I'm just going to hit my green flag so it goes to the right spot. And then it automatically fills in the right location. Make sure it's negative 20, negative 165. It has to be that location, okay? And then we're going to broadcast next maze and we're going to set a timer. We have to make these 2 blocks, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, if you go to events and you scroll down, you're going to see a broadcast new message block. So grab the broadcast new message. Instead of the words message 1, we're going to say, it says, I'm sorry, I keep saying broadcast new message. It said broadcast message 1. You're going to choose new message. And our new message is going to be next maze. Whoops, next maze. I can't type. Next maze. And then click OK. Okay. And then we have to go to our variables and we're going to click on the white box at the top that says make a variable. And I want you to type in the word timer. Leave it for all sprites. Click OK. And then I believe, yeah, set timer. And then you can adjust this seconds to match whatever seconds you want. But I'm going to say set my timer. Whoops, set timer. And I'm going to still use 60 seconds. And again, if you want it to be shorter or longer, go ahead and go for that. Okay. All right. We have to create the code for the maze. So the first thing we have to do is select the maze. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on the maze. Make sure you have the maze selected. Again, I have everything listed. I also have a screenshot of my code. So when the green flag is clicked, it's going to show. We're going to make sure our backdrop is on light, and then we're going to switch our costumes. So let's do that. So let's go to events. Let's say when green flag is clicked. let's go to looks and say show. Okay, we are going to have a game over at some point, so we always want to make sure our backdrop starts over with our just regular plain old light and doesn't have the words game over. So let's do switch backdrop to and choose the word light or whatever background you happen to choose. I chose light. Okay, we're going to switch costumes to. So switch costumes. Now remember, we have 5 mazes. We want it to be random. We don't want it to just automatically go to a certain maze. So if you remember, in that green operators category, there is a block that says pick random 1 to 5. You can actually place it right where it says maze 5 right here in my case. And we have 5 mazes, so I'm going to put 1 to 5. If you have 10 mazes, you can say pick random 1 to 10. If you have 100 mazes, you'd say pick random 1 to 100. Okay? And then we're going to keep going. We're going to have it go to a certain location. It has to go to the exact same location we set earlier. So it's going to be -19, -5. So let's go to motion, grab our go to. It already should be in those numbers, but in case it's not, please put in -19, -5. And then we're going to set our timer to 60 seconds. Okay, so we want our timer to be set to 60 seconds when we start our game. So set timer to 60. Okay. And now we're going to do our forever loop and what's going to happen as the cat is moving towards the apple. Okay. So, okay. So we're going to do a forever loop. We're going to do a forever loop. We're going to do a wait 1 second. It's still at the top of control here. Wait 1 second. Okay. And then we're going to start the timer going down to by -1. The reason we're putting -1 in here is because we want the counter to go backwards. Normally when we, playing Pong and we hit the ball, the score goes up 1 at a time. We used a +1, but we're having a countdown going backwards. So we want a -1. So we're going to change time by -1. So change my variable. Instead of my variable, choose timer, and then -1. Okay. And what else is going to happen? Then we're going to put an if then block and say if the time equals 0, hide, switch to game over. So let's do an if then block. So let's go to control and do an if then. And we're going to say equal sign in here. Okay. So let's go to operators and find the circle equals 50. But we're going to say when the timer equals 0. So let's go to variables. Let's grab the timer button, put it in the circle. Timer equals 0. Okay, what's going to happen when the timer equals 0? We want the maze to hide. We're going to broadcast game over. We're going to switch our backdrop to game over, and we're going to stop the game. So we're going to start with the hide block. So let's go to looks, scroll down and grab a hide block. Let's go to events, and we're going to broadcast next maze. But instead of next maze, we want it to say game over. Guess what? There is no next or game over because we didn't make it yet. So we're going to click on new message. And we're going to type the words game over. We're going to click OK. We're going to go to looks. We're going to switch our backdrop to game over. So make sure it says game over. And then we're going to finally go to control and we're going to stop all, which means the game stops. Okay. I'm going to keep going. Okay, we're almost done. Create code to switch between all maze costumes. So again, we're going to use the maze sprite. We're just doing when I receive next maze, go to the next costume. The next costume is because all of our mazes are created as costumes. Okay, so in the events category, when I receive, not game over, but next maze, we're going to go to looks and we're going to say next costume. Okay, that's simple. Let's go back. Create code to hide the apple when the game ends, and then we're going to create code to hide the cat when the game ends. So we're just going to say when I receive game over, hide. We're going to do that for the apple and the cat. So click on your apple sprite, go to events, scroll down and say when I receive game over. So make sure you choose game over. Let's go to looks and say hide. And then we're going to do this code for the cat as well. So select your cat sprite, go to events and scroll down. When I receive game over, go to the purple looks category. I'm just going to stop that. And choose hide. Okay, and I think we're done. And when we're done, all right, now we're going to test it out. Okay, so I'm just going to expand this. All right, let's see. I'm going to hit my green flag. My clock is going down, so that's good. I'm going to start moving through the maze. This is a tough one. I'm going to try to win this one and see if I can, if it's going to say nom 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 and randomly switch to another maze. So let's try that first. I don't even know if I'm going in the right direction. Nope, I'm not. Wait, these are tough mazes, honestly. So where do I have to go? I think I have to go. I'm way off. All right, I think I have to go this way. This is why I give myself 60 seconds. Otherwise, I would never make it. After I do this, I'm going to test it. I'm going to give myself only 10 seconds and I'm going to test it out and see if it actually will stop and go to the game over. Okay, let's see. Nom, nom, nom. Start over. Okay, so I know that works. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is just for the time being, where it says set timer to 60, I'm going to change it to 10. You have to do that in 2 places, both in the cat sprite. And then up above, where's the other one? Maybe it's not in the cat sprite. Where is it? Oh, in the maze sprite, where it says set timer to 60, change it to 10. I'm just going to test it out and see if when I lose, if it actually goes to the game over backsplash or backdrop. So it doesn't matter where I hang out because I'm just trying to lose anyway. So timer's at 2, 1, 0. Game over. Perfect. Okay. If I hit my green flag, it starts back up again. Perfect. Okay. So it works. I'm going to change this back to 60 for my maze. Change this back to 60 for my cat. And I am ready to save and submit. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, good luck.